It's Miss Colleen, and welcome to my teacher closet. Today we're going to learn about something that is in the sky that we see all the time, but sometimes we don't notice it until it gets really big and bright. And pretty soon it's going to do that. So I thought we would talk about it. And that thing in the sky is not the sun, because that is big and bright. This thing in the sky comes out at night, and it is called the moon. And pretty soon, we are going to experience a full moon, which means it's the brightest in the sky, and it will be a super pink moon. So we're going to talk about that a little later. But first, I wanted to read a couple of books to you today about the moon. The first one is called So That's How the Moon Changes Shape. And it's by Fowler. And there's pictures of the moon. And the reason I chose this one is because it has realistic pictures. That means they are real pictures that someone took a photograph of. And I wanted you to be able to see those as we read today. So this is the first book. Do you think the moon changes shape? Do you ever look up at the moon and wonder, why can't the moon make up its mind what shape to be in? Oh, it's a different color too. Sometimes the moon is a bright circle, and we call it a full moon. But some nights, the moon looks more like this. Or like this half moon. Or like this crescent. And some nights you can't see it at all. How does the moon change its shape? It doesn't. It's always a big ball. A ball of rock with neither air nor water, so people and animals and plants can't live there. But they can visit. You see only the part of the moon that's lit. The rest is too dark to see. Yet it's there. Why doesn't the whole moon shine every night? Look at that great picture. Because the moon doesn't really shine at all. It's the sun that shines on the moon and lights it up. We say that the moon reflects the sunlight. Even though the sun is on the other side of the earth, at night, where you can't see it, the sun's rays may still reach the moon and make it glow. So look at this picture. Oh, look, there's a reflection. That's what the sun does. It reflects. But this picture shows us the moon is up here. The earth is right here. And then the sun would be over down here. The moon is always traveling in a big circle around the earth. Look at that. Depending on where the sun and the moon are in the sky, we may see some of the moon, all of the moon, or none of the moon lit up by the sun. And we call that moon phases. See the different, it looks like it's a different shape, but it stays the same shape. It's just that reflection. So that's how the moon seems to change its shape. So next time you think you see the moon shining, remember you're really looking at sunshine. Yeah, that's so interesting that it looks like it's changing shape, but still stays that same round ball. Here's our next one. It's called The Moon, and this is by Daisy Connell. And I picked this one because it has a lot of interesting facts about the moon. Look up at the moon. It shines in the night. It's the Earth's closest neighbor. That's a really good picture. And the fact on this page says the moon is about 240,000 miles away from the Earth. That is a long way. I have trouble walking a mile because it's kind of boring. But 240,000 miles? Wow. Look up at the moon. It circles the Earth. It looks different every night. And the fact on these pages says it takes 27 days for the moon to go around the Earth. There's the different shapes again. Look up at the moon. It shines over land. It shines over water. And did you know that the moon pulls the ocean like a magnet, and it makes tides or the waves in the ocean? That's pretty powerful for something that's so far away. Look up at the moon. It's made of rock. It has mountains. And as we learned, there are no living things on the moon because there's no air. Look up at the moon. It has craters. It has dust and rock. And there is no wind on the moon, which means the dust doesn't blow around. There's a crater or a big hole or dip, and there are the rocks and the dust that just sits there, kind of like the dust on my shelves in my living room. It just sits there. Look up at the moon. It has been visited by astronauts, and it is beautiful. And this one says, well, here's the astronaut picture. We've seen that one before. And the moon is 1/4 the size of Earth. Look how small it is. But you know, sometimes it looks so big. That was a good one. So, we're talking about the moon and its different phases because on April 7th, we are going to experience a full pink moon. And well, actually, it's a full pink super moon. And here's the picture. Just to remind you, it's a super full moon, and it will be on April 7th at 9:35 p.m. Maybe your parents will let you stay up to watch it or to see it. It will be its biggest and its brightest, and it's called a supermoon because it is the closest to the Earth. Remember how we read it goes around in a circle? It's not a perfect circle. It's more kind of like an oval. And when it gets to the point that it's the closest to the Earth, it's the brightest. And that reflection off the sun, it shows that it is the brightest. See, there's another reflection. We're learning a lot about reflections today. And they call it a pink moon because way back in ancient days, people would notice that this moon, this big super moon that was so bright, would come out in the springtime, and that's when the pink flowers came out. So they just called it a pink moon because it reminded them that spring is coming. Now, today's moon, if you go out today, it will look like this. So this part will be the reflection part, and it is called a waxing gibbons. Now, each phase of the moon has a name. So one thing I thought that would be really fun for us to do is to make a calendar. And I just drew lines. I made sure there were 7 boxes because there's 7 days in a week, but you can do it however you want. It took me like 3 or 4 times to make this, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And go out each night and look at the moon and draw a picture of what you see. And then by the end of 27 days, you will have a full moon calendar. And that's something to do while we're stuck inside, because we're really not stuck inside. We just can't be near people right now. But this way, you know that all our friends that are listening to this are doing the same thing. And we're kind of connected that way. All right, so remember, April 7th is a super full moon called the pink moon. And make sure you go out and see if it's pink, which it probably won't be, but it will remind us that spring is here, and pretty soon we'll get to summer, and it'll be nice and warm. All right, I want you to remember that every day is a new adventure, and I will see you next time from my teacher closet.